During COVID-19, race relations have come under stress. There have been more racist incidents, several of which were widely publicized on social media. One happened just before National Day. Tanjung Pagar Town Council displayed banners to celebrate, featuring Singapore families of different races. Unfortunately, netizens picked on one banner showing an Indian family, as though there were no other banners of other races. They made very nasty comments accusing the government of being pro-foreigner and pro-Indian. Actually, the family is Singaporean, and the son, Thiruban, he's at the top right hand of that picture, is a national athlete. In another incident, a polytechnic lecturer, a Chinese Singaporean, accosted an interracial couple on Orchard Road. The woman was Thai Chinese and her partner was Indian Filipino. Both were Singaporeans. The lecturer berated them, saying that they should date someone of their own races. He apologized later, but the damage was done. Several of these incidents have specifically targeted Indians, both work pass holders and citizens. One reason could be the large number of Indian work pass holders here. Another factor could be the Delta variant of COVID-19, which first emerged in India. I understand people are frustrated the Delta variant managed to get into Singapore. But it is illogical to blame this on Indians, just as it is illogical to blame the Alpha variant on the English, the KTV cluster on Vietnamese, or the initial outbreak in Wuhan on the Chinese. We must address the real issues, manage the work pass numbers and concentrations, and improve our border health safeguards. But we should not let our frustrations spill over to affect our racial harmony. These racist incidents remind us how fragile our harmony is. But they do not negate our multiracial approach, which has worked well for us. Racial harmony didn't happen spontaneously in Singapore. It took hard work, sacrifice, and wisdom. Our founding fathers resolved to forge one nation from the different races. They made multiracial equality and harmony a fundamental principle of nation building. They didn't suppress the distinct identities of each group. Instead, they acknowledged and accommodated them. Everyone in Singapore could practice their own beliefs, festivals, religions, and cultures. English, not Chinese, became our working language, so that no race would be privileged over the others. At the same time, we preserved the mother tongues. We retained Malay as our national language, and we continued singing Majulah Singapura with gusto in Malay. Over time, the different ethnic groups reached a balance. We did this not through push and shove, but through mutual compromise and give and take. No group got everything it wanted. Each gave up a little in order for all to live harmoniously side by side. As a result, Singapore is one of the few countries in the world where people of different races and faiths live peacefully together and have done so now for more than half a century. It is a rare and precious achievement, but it is also a delicate balance, because a harmonious multiracial country is not a natural state of affairs, and it is not a stable state of affairs. It doesn't happen by itself, and it doesn't stay like that by itself. Look around the world. Many countries set out professing the same noble ideals. But over time, their race relations and politics polarize. Often the majority group asserts its power and sidelines the minorities, and the minorities find themselves with less and less space and feel no choice but to push back hard. Sometimes the minorities pursue aggressive identity politics, and the majority group feels pressured and threatened and rallies around hardline chauvinist leaders. It happens to countries much older than Singapore. Either way, the outcome is unhappy for both majority and minorities. And once the country has gone down that path, it's very difficult to turn back. Fortunately, right from the beginning, Singapore chose a different path for ourselves. Nevertheless, 56 years is a very short time in the history of nations. Our racial harmony is still work in progress and will be so for a long time. We all take pride in Singapore's multiracial identity, but all of us still retain at least some racial or religious preferences. We make friends more easily with others who are of the same race or who share our own religion. We mostly choose life partners who are the same race, although that's changing. All this is human and natural in every society. But sometimes it goes beyond racial and cultural preferences to become biases and prejudices. Then it is a problem. Some job advertisements require people who speak Chinese. Yet it's not always clear whether this is a genuine necessity for the job or a polite way to signal that the employer is more comfortable with Chinese workers. Or you're looking to rent a flat. You call the property agent, he finds out you're not Chinese, then he says, sorry, the owner doesn't want to rent to you after all. If he's polite, he stops there. If he's direct, he will tell you why. These things do happen here. The minorities experience it more acutely because they are the ones most affected by such racial discrimination. They feel angry, hurt, disappointed that the words in our national pledge are still an aspiration, but still not fully achieved. I know it's harder to belong to a minority race than to the majority. And this is true in every multiracial society. But it does not mean we have to accept this state of affairs in Singapore. We must keep on working at it to become one people, regardless of race, language, or religion. The majority must be more sensitive to the concerns of the minorities, and we must also have the moral courage to take a stand against racist behavior, to express clear disapproval of racist incidents when they happen. That's not so hard. But what is much harder, to call out deliberate racist agitation that masquerades as something else. Like the campaign against CECA, the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement with India, which claimed to be about putting Singaporeans first, but had a strong racial undertone.